The teams have done their homework as they're taking out some pretty efficient champions here. Team WE already looking to hover this Talia contested pick between the two. It does go over to Karis for game one of the
I love that, though. I think taking away the Talia is so impactful. I think ThunderTalk need to be thinking about taking away this Pantheon. Obviously, one of Monki's best champions, and just being able to break up the Talia duo is, I think, really, really important with these semi-globals and being able to move around the map very, very quickly. And I think, importantly for ThunderTalk, cheating priority. They have had a really tough time of showing up to objectives on time, whether that be 1xN taking late recalls or the rest of the team not really setting up in time, so they show up second to an objective like a Dragon or a Grubs. Pantheon lets them cheat that.
Yep, that'll go over to XiaoHuanGren. As we'll see, they're going to go with the Misfortune as well. They'll give that over to 1xN. We've talked about Misfortune has had some difficulties at times. Be quite hard to deal with this Talia, and if this Rumble pick goes through, 1xN might not have too many safe places to stay.
All right. Rumble, Talia makes this hard for Misfortune to play, like you had just noted. Ezreal would give them more range, so again, they're going to be trying to play poke. I think that this does make the Pantheon's job a little tougher, and I wonder what the topside matchup is going to be, because Rumble's usually a champion we see Hoya and the rest of ThunderTalk really gravitate towards. I don't think they're going to be seeing Gwen, and Gwen somehow made it all the way through bans.
Yeah, that is quite surprising. It feels like she's just banned all the time. I mean, we rarely even see her in-game at this point, so the fact that she's going to get locked in here, give that one over to Hoya. All right, you know, you're going to give him the power pick. Why not? Let's see what Hoya can do with it. A guy who has really struggled with his finding himself ever since the lane swap changes. Maybe this game is the one that turns it around for him.
I think Hoya's starting to pick it up. He still has a lot of issues when it comes to not only his individual laning, but how he plays in team fights. So right here for ThunderTalk, really strong lanes already showing. Even with Gwen nerfs, I want to see how he's able to pilot this matchup into the Rumble. Both Misfortune, Pantheon, they have a lot of kill threat if they need it. And back end of this draft, more bans going over to SeTab. I think WE recognized the strategy, saying, look, if SeTab is uncomfortable, if he is not on a champion that he can really have a massive impact on, he is going to be a liability for this ThunderTalk team. So putting 2+ bans on him is a pretty decent strategy.
Yeah, and the fact that they had to ban Azir themselves means that he's not able to get that. Now, Ahri is a champion that he does play fairly often and does pair well with the Pantheon. They do ban out the Akali because he's done some of his best work on melees. So we'll see if we get the Ahri from him.
All right, it's going to be R5 coming on through.
Okay.
4 bans, though, alongside having the Azir. What is a jungle for Monki going to be? Could be a Trundle. I think Trundle here is actually not all that bad. It is a little weak into what some of, I think, the Pantheon matchup in particular. You could go for Xin Zhao, especially if you're trying to stop something like the Misfortune from getting a lot of value. But there's a lot of options still up and available. I just
could always
think
go to the Skarner.
Could it go to the Skarner? I think Skarner's a little weak versus Gwen Pantheon.
Yeah.
So it is going to be the Xin Zhao, so a lot of skirmishing. WE, they're going to try and play this mid-ranged focus comp around their Ezreal and this Rumble poke, and then just have Talia on side lanes being able to press. ThunderTalk now, what is this last pick? What are you going to be giving over to SeTab? It's going to be his Ahri, most played of the split. He's had some troubles on this champion, so need to see him be really proactive and being able to find plays, because there's not a ton of champions that are going to be very easy for him to find picks on.
Yeah, it's going to be so difficult. This Ezreal just going to be very slippery. Obviously, Braum, if he puts up his shield and you hit him with a charm, it's not really going to do that much. If Monki already pops his ultimate, again, not going to do anything. And Cube is generally going to stay away until he really wants to get into the fight. But strong mid-jungle duos coming out from both of these teams. I'm interested to see what side is going to get more work done, because it would be really, really big if either of these mid-jungle duos are able to bridge their team into the mid to late game with some strong early game presence.
Coaches take the midway of the stage. Afe versus Teacher Ma, and WE and ThunderTalk get ready for game number 1 of this series. Again, both of these teams at the bottom of the standings right now. WE 8th, ThunderTalk 10th. a win here for either of these teams don't end up changing their position all that much, but ThunderTalk get a little closer to maybe contesting for 9th, and for WE, it puts them within striking range of potentially being able to move a team like Weibo or even FPX down the standings a bit.
Yeah, always an opportunity to bump them. Heck, this could be a potential play-in preview. You know, it's going to be a lot to work because I think Weibo, despite their difficulties, is just a little bit better than Team WE. But who knows? Right? They continue their slide. Listen, individual player-wise, I mean, I think
yeah,
Weibo's
but they're on a
still
5 losing streak. I don't know, man.
Oh yeah,
bro,
it's
sounds tough.
So is Team WE. Let's see if they can turn it around.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
No.
I feel bad. I feel bad.
Oh.
Usually the WE crowd is actually pretty quiet, so I'm glad that, you know, in their home arena of Xi'an, they're actually able to have a little bit of a fan cheer go on. But that ThunderTalk one, look, it's hard to be a fan of a team that is literally bottom in the standings. You've won 9 games, single digit here in split number 2, but I respect that guy. I respect that guy for holding it down.
Yeah, and you know what? Good attitude about it, too. You know, and even laughing at himself a little bit, knowing that he is the only one. But hey, you know what? ThunderTalk, with a surprise, might make that guy very, very happy. Alk Battery, one thing we didn't really get to dig into is our featured matchup between these two teams. And it's Karis and SeTab, these guys getting champions that they are both very well practiced on. Also, very, very similar stories for both of these players.
They have 2 LCK players coming on through, weren't able to get that much done inside of their own home region and trying to build a legacy, build a career for themselves, maybe find a home here in the LPL. Karis has had a lot more of those like big flashy moments where we kind of can see him trying to look for stuff, but his laning phase hasn't been all there. And SeTab, I feel like, has been a really big game hunter when he's on. When he is in form and kind of playing his like his Azir or playing his Yone, he feels like a really strong mid, but has not, unfortunately, really been able to get access to some of those champions as teams have caught on. So we'll see if either of these guys can have a better performance here today up against each other. Again, second time around. Last time it was WE still 2-0ing ThunderTalk, but ThunderTalk, every game win that they find, even if it's not a series win, is a massive upset and something that we should be applauding and kind of messes up some of the standings.
Monki moving up here, very well aware that this blue buff is still standing. He's going to step on a ward. So, ThunderTalk, I don't know that he is going to start up this blue buff. This top side is completely exposed, so this does mean that Pantheon can move over at will.
I like this, though. I mean, Pantheon does 3 of his camps. He did Wolves, Gromp, Red Buff, Raptors now. I think this is really smart. Again, it's all about playing around mid, setting up Karis for success. They're going to help push this wave in. Monki does have to be a little careful here, but he's going to get pushed off, and now he's going to contest onto his side of the jungle. This is really smart coming in from Monki.
All right. A little bit of fighting in the bot lane deal, burned by Feather and by Vampire as well.
Cool. I mean, it's Ezreal Braum. This is tough even for an Alistar early on. No mana already coming on through for 1xN and Feather. So a duo that has started to slip, I think, in some of their prowess. And when we talk about ThunderTalk, every time we want to say nice and positive things about this team, we're almost always looking at AD carry. We're like, okay, 1xN, my darling, baby boy, don't let's get you a better team. We gonna get you out of this one. This is very fake.
Well up, but Karis throwing more rocks at him. He's getting quite low. They've had
another rock.
Slow to the play. The stun is there. Karis trying to make the play.
Oh my
nice
God.
Splash there, and he finds the solo kill. But SeTab will trade it out.
Okay, first, that's kind of bad for XiaoHuanGren, but, you know, this does set up SeTab for success. He had to use his summoner spells. Karis just TP'd back into this lane, and so not all that bad. Oh, we get to see how Feather lost his flash. Okay, trying to make an engage onto the bottom side and push maybe Taeyoon and Vampire off a minion wave. But there's actually a very big advantage now opened up for SeTab.
Yeah, SeTab, again, really looking for him to make big plays on this Aria champion that you mentioned he has struggled with for this entirety of the season, and a champion that has been quite valuable. So we'll see if once he hits level 6, he's able to kind of help out a little bit, make sure that, you know, guys like 1xN and Feather can use their power. You know, this is a team that we really look for, like, Feather to kind of go around and make the plays, and if SeTab is able to do that, could unlock a whole new gear for ThunderTalk.
I need to see him lock in, bro. I need to see him moving around the map, looking for plays. And Monki actually still hasn't gone for recall. He's finally going to go to look to spend. XiaoHuanGren, with him going down early, does mean that he gets access to double longsword a little bit sooner. Probably should just be a Coalfield or a Tunneler completed here for this in Zhao. So he's going to be a little bit more tanky. SeTab's going to get level 6 a bit sooner. So I wonder if XiaoHuanGren is going to be able to sneak into this mid lane. There are so many wards on this bottom side river protecting Karis right now.
So many. He's going to at least get a clear out on this pink ward. Maybe he'll walk over toward that mid lane and clear out that other pink. We already see Karis moving around. SeTab going to burn his ultimate here. We're going to find Karis there, getting right on top of him. Nice melee range charm.
Nice.
As they are really going after Karis, and they're able to take him out. XiaoHuanGren will fall to Monki, but it is a second kill for SeTab.
I love that, though. That's really good. And Feather taking a hell of a lot of damage here. He's going to get out with his life. But as soon as they saw him duck into that brush, I mean, XiaoHuanGren's in the area. Hell, just walk up on this guy. He is not a lot of walk here. I just hit level 6. Great punish coming in from SeTab and his new jungler for ThunderTalk. It's going to be the Dragon starting. You can already see that game plan that we talked about for WE, focusing so heavily around the mid lane.
Good stuff so far. Let's see if they're able to continue it. We really like to see Pantheon keep this sort of pressure up, and sure, while he's 0-2, he does have 2 assists to his ledger, so he is still doing positive things for his team. It just means that it is going to be up to SeTab, as we have said. Team WE going to take out that Dragon here, so could be open season for those grubs. Either of these teams could go for it.
I think I need to see XiaoHuanGren actually farm a little bit more. I know that he doesn't have too many of his camps up and available, and especially with Monki stealing some of them, he will have access to level 6. With all of these topside camps, I do expect Pantheon will have that ultimate soon, but making sure that you have this important breakpoint coming into this fight, I think, is a pretty big point of concern for ThunderTalk. I am looking at Vampire, though. If he can somehow sneak in, getting close to level 6, not during or before these grubs, maybe like a minute afterwards, maybe there's a play coming on through for WE.
Potentially, there's always a world where that could happen. See, if they're actually able to do much, we are going to see Pantheon come down onto the top side. Feather 1xN make the play on the cube. It will be a feats of warfare going over to ThunderTalk, and the pings going down in the grubs area.
I don't know if ThunderTalk can contest this, though. They do have numbers right now, but no ultimate from Pantheon. They kind of just lost their timer. Cube is just going to be able to back and potentially go down towards the bottom side. He will have teleport on the same timer here as Hoya. So it's a bit of swap in terms of the lane allocations, but Joe going over to ThunderTalk, and feats of warfare are nice, but I'm just looking at it right now. It's so hard for them to re-enter into this pit, especially with Karis having this Weaver's Wall still up.
And Pantheon ult being down too means you don't have easy access toward one of these squishier members. Grubs are going to be started up by Team WE. Here comes ThunderTalk over on the top side. He was going to get first move in mid lane. As you mentioned, the Weaver's Wall is available to be used as Ezreal comes through doing a lot of damage. SeTab going to be shoved off toward his team's jungle, which means Grubs go over to Team WE.
All right, we take those 3 grubs, a team that's going to be able to split push a little bit easier, also taking that away from the Ahri and Gwen. I think it makes a lot of sense. Monki could look for a flash here, but instead it's going to get that forced out from XiaoHuanGren. Look what they're giving around the map right now. A couple of camps still up for Monki, and I think taking that summoner spell is not all that bad.
Not at all. You know, mentioning CS, take a look at the CS difference in the jungle right now. I mean, Monki is so far up right now, going to continue to clear out his. Obviously, XiaoHuanGren is going to have a couple on the bottom side to grab for himself, but is down a full level at this point.
diff. I mean, he got all 3 of the grubs, right? So he just gets a bunch of experience. Turns out grubs were chock filled with XP.
No way, so good.
Yeah.
Now with more EXP.
And with less of the BS of having to contest 2 camps.
Yo, honestly, how do you feel about that? You know, I kind of like it. I like that there's not as much perma fighting.
I mean, I'm a player that always likes to play like really greedy paths, whether it's in card games or in League. So
sure.
Unless I outright am feeling like, yeah, I'm probably just going to body this guy in lane, so I'll pick like something else. But I don't know. I typically like to play scaling, so having less fights, more time for me to be in lane and just soak up farm as an AD carry feels pretty good. But we'll see. We'll see if ThunderTalk can kind of keep doing the same again. They have a minor gold lead, and I think the easiest part of the game for them is going to be able to move between these lanes. Between just having the Pantheon and the Ahri, the movement speed from Misfortune, and the ability to wave clear so easily compared to their opponents, should make it a lot easier for ThunderTalk to kind of push first and go into Fog of War, move into these objectives.
Nice double up there, landing on the Taeyoon, always stings. I'm sure you know that as an AD carry player. One miss sidestep, you take a chunk of damage, and I'm like, man, I really don't want to lane against this Misfortune any longer. 40 seconds until this Dragon is up. We're seeing the back come out from WE's bot lane. Really need to see them show something in one of these next couple of fights, specifically out of Cube and Karis. Karis with that Weaver's Wall, we haven't really seen any usage of it yet, but one nice Weaver's Wall could completely cut off ThunderTalk's plan of attack and get WE right back in this game.
I think that ThunderTalk are on some really weird timers right now, because I know right now 1xN wants to back. He wants to be able to recall, maybe pick up a BF sword. He's been sitting on pickaxe plus Damp Scepter plus Cole. Getting really close, probably even getting closer to his second item. All right.
Oh yeah, Hoya is just taking Q to the town right here. Very, very low. Get a little bit of flame spitter damage on the backside. That means no equalizer, so I don't think Q will be showing up to this Dragon fight anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the exhaust. Cube can teleport if he takes the recall, but you can kind of see right now, ThunderTalk, they tried to answer, they pushed on bottom wave, and then they went into their top side. They went into the top side of this river. They lost mid push now, and so WE are going to be moving on through this side of the jungle. Again, Karis having that Weaver's Wall can very easily cut off ThunderTalk. Can even send it to try to stop 1xN in his ultimate.
Brings his Pantheon ultimate in the middle of everybody. Taeyoon already had to shift away. Now he's got a cleanse too. They're looking to peel back. Bullet time coming out, but it's not doing a darn thing. SeTab manages to find the charm on the Karis. XiaoHuanGren trying to stay alive over on the backside, but finally falls. SeTab, Karis still going at it, but SeTab has no dash charges left, and he really wants Karis, and he will not find him. A double kill for Monki.
Wow, Monki and Karis played, if you just look at their positioning in that fight, the way that they set up the fight, really excellent. And ThunderTalk feeling like they needed to go for something, but their backline is just completely stopped from walking in. Not only between the ult from Karis with the Weaver's Wall, but then just watching Monki with the Crescent Guard, stopping all of this Misfortune damage. Look where the damage is. Feather goes in, sets up 1xN. Pantheon is in the backline, but he's under no threat versus Taeyoon can just very easily walk away from him. Again, Crescent Guard doing so much. And then 1xN, at a certain point, cancel the ultimate, brother. Just walk forward, hit this guy in the head, and now Karis gets to live. It's the flash invested by the Talia, but they get the Dragon, they get the kills, and they get another wave for themselves. WE get 3 grubs and now have 2 dragons to their name.
More importantly, they get the gold lead off Battery. 13 and a half minutes into this game. Monki is feeling himself. He is quite far ahead at this point. Talked about it with those grubs, getting that privilege of being a full level up, and he's looking to continue that pace and really exert his pressure over the map. SeTab is going to pop his ultimate once again as he's looking to win this 1v1, but he's going to find out real soon. It ain't a 1v1 for much longer. Karis is still alive, and there is the seismic shove to buy enough time for Monki to bail him out.
SeTab, look at him, gets a little bit frustrated. He's like, God damn it, man. Every time I want to try to kill this guy, this jungler is in my lane. So WE, they're going to use some of those grubs now. It's going to get at least a teleport in response, a bit of chip damage. And WE are feeling so good about their chances in this game right now. The Gwen only just barely up 300, but has had no influence in this game whatsoever. And ThunderTalk are starting to fall apart at the seams.
Team WE is just pulling them around wherever they want after SeTab's hot start of going 2-0. It's now
He's
not
back?
too much of an impact. Oh my goodness, they're going to make the play again. Karis with another good damage coming out. Still alive, he's on the wrong side of Hoya, but he does manage to survive, and the exhaust got burnt as well. Is another kill for this dynamic duo for Team WE.
Low-key, that's a heartbreaker because Hoya, he literally, if he just was able to press his Q, you would have gotten the kill onto Karis, but the dash over the unraveled earth completely shifts that fight. Even getting both of his summoner spells. Karis, oh my god. Oh! Get me out. Get me out. We're going to game 2, boys. We're going to game 2. That one is like a, okay guys, we're tilted. Oh man. So now SeTab dies in bottom lane. Hoya teleports and uses his exhaust, dies in that lane. XiaoHuanGren uses his ultimate, doesn't get the kill. Like, nothing is going well for ThunderTalk. They got the feats of warfare, and this has been kind of the same thing we have seen from them in their past series recently. Great early game starts, getting some of the first kills of the game, but then it just falls apart in the mid game. Their setup around objectives have been really sloppy. Now, we're getting this Herald start. SeTab's on a flank.
All right, Hoya looking to get in. SeTab, Vampire just dealing with everybody else on ThunderTalk over on the side. Monki uses the Crescent Guard. SeTab goes in, goes out, chunks out Karis, but Vampire says, no, you will not escape from me. He does get to the Blast Cone. Here's the full time over on the other side. Taeyoon trying to do what he can to 1xN.
That's no mana.
The Ahri has gone down. Now it's a 4v4 as the health bars are getting very low. Monki once in, gets to the back line. XiaoHuanGren goes down. Feather is low too. Vampire trying to stun up Hoya to make sure that Karis stays alive. And Team WE roll over ThunderTalk.
Full on ace. One person dies in that entire fight from the side of WE. It is 11-4. They're going to get a mid-tier one if they really want it. They say, look, we'll just delay the backs. We'll go ahead and take our recalls, try to spend our gold after a little bit. And that is a wonderful fight from WE. It looks messy. I'm not going to lie. You look at how this is set up right now. Vampire is holding 3 members of the enemy team. Equalizer is cutting off the rest of ThunderTalk from walking in. And right here, I kind of am thinking, okay, WE, who are we focusing? Because there's a Herald in the pit that's about to die. The Blast Cone SeTab, it gets blocked by all the wards placed. Really smart play from them. And then ThunderTalk, what are we doing? A random ultimate from Feather. Does absolutely nothing to help this play. Hoya is the most competitive from ThunderTalk, but it just does not look close.
Yeah, they sequester themselves in the pit. And I mean, when Team WE is staring you down, you're like, huh. You know, this is a really, really bad spot for us to be in as a Misfortune, an Alistar, and a Pantheon. You are definitely going to lose that fight, and Team WE in total control. It's almost 18 minutes into this game. Next Dragon in 15 seconds. I imagine they're going to take this one too off battery. And man, this game in the blink of an eye went so wrong for ThunderTalk. It just felt like once SeTab couldn't get anything going on that first play, yep, game's over. See you later.
It's just like, one, SeTab, great in lane for the most part. He did fine for himself again. They got 2 kills onto Karis, were able to force him out early. But he died in a side lane, and that has been a big problem for ThunderTalk, is being able to stay safe, win on sides, and SeTab not necessarily getting caught out. So they summon the Herald in mid. They now use 1 ultimate for Pantheon to get him into top side, but they lost 2 turrets for this and didn't even get the kill onto Cube. So they'll put members in mid, they'll push on this wave, but Monki's just going to sit on top of this dragon, and there's nothing that ThunderTalk can do right now but go back, farm their waves, and basically say, okay, let's hope in 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes, we get to play the game again.
And what, you're really hanging your hat on Hoya for scaling here? I mean, you know, Gwen certainly does a lot when she gets these items and gets really fed, but 0, 2, and 1, very, very far away from that point, and especially on a player that has not really been able to perform to that standard on these carry champions. Over on the other side, I mean, Team WE's power is just, they're way too strong at this point. I mean, Ezreal's going to be on his 2-item spike very soon, and that's going to be Team WE when they're going to pull away completely.
Yeah, Karis is already unkillable at this point. When you just look at the lack of damage, the fact that he is a full level up on his opponent, and then you look at the other players on the enemy team, and you're like, well, hell, who's killing this guy? Maybe the Gwen, but Gwen is 1 item and dirt poor at this point in the game. And Monki, who has been so impressive so far. I think a really big makeover. Again, last year, IG and EDG, these two orgs, despite being historic for the LPL, have not been great in recent years. Even 2023, IG, EDG, not very competitive, really going for, you know, newer players, trying to see if they can flip some of the developmental contracts into moving them onto other teams, maybe getting a buyout here and there. But I just think when we saw specifically Monki on that EDG roster, it kind of felt like the death throes. We're like, okay, we're seeing the final dregs of like the old 2021 roster that ended up winning. We wanted to see something a little bit different. Monki finally moves off, gets a starting spot on an organization not named Edward Gaming, and he's really been, I think, a main leader for this team, not only in strategy, but also you think about how diverse some of his champions have been. And I love to see it. Monki kind of rebuilding himself here in 2025, and that's the Otacon going over to WE.
Yeah, let's be honest. I think Monki is the big reason why this team has surpassed the expectations that they've had in Group Ascent, these original expectations of them not doing anything. And you know what? It's really been nice to see him have an impact on the growth of a guy like Vampire, who is still so young, and last year was ridiculed, right, as being not very good, to put it in the cleanest and mildest of terms. But he has helped this guy out so much and helped him shine that it just goes to show that even if you're not a total superstar at the time you show up, you can still raise the level of everyone around you. And who knows, maybe Monki can become that at some point in time. I don't think it's going to be here on May 15th in what is the second to last week of the LPL Split 2 regular season. But it could be sooner than you think.
It could be a Split 3. Who knows? WE had a really surprising run halfway through the split. We'll see if they can do one here in the back end. Feather has to use the heal to get out. Hoya is just going to be able to crash this wave. No one's stopping the Rumble from pushing on the opposite side of the map, though. So ThunderTalk, they're looking to try to get this last tier 1 here. A lot of focus. It's not a very big minion wave here, so Hoya should be very much fine. You can kind of see they're muscling their way through. Rumble's going to catch the mid wave. What are ThunderTalk going to do? Are we going to try to send on the Rumble in mid? You have this Ari ultimate coming on. You got a Dragon spawning in minute and a half's time. That'll be Soul for WE.
Yeah, I mean, there's really just nothing that ThunderTalk are able to do. Again, we talk about like, hey, maybe you're just waiting for Hoya to get a couple of items, but by that time, Team WE, if they haven't ended the game, will probably be taking Elder Dragon, right? It looks like they're going to be able to get this next Dragon in a minute and 20 seconds without any issue. I can't imagine the Baron will be too much of an issue for them either. It just feels like ThunderTalk have absolutely zero fight in them. After coming out with a punch early, they will have been brought to heel ever since.
All right, and what are ways that ThunderTalk can kind of fight back in this game? I think that they still have some really explosive damage coming on through, especially, again, you look at a Pantheon with this Ari. We should be expecting, you know, at least 1 or 2 members to fall for WE. But it's really that consistent damage that is a question here. 1xN on 2 items, that's great, but he only has an Infinity Edge and a Bloodthirster, so 25% crit there. You have Hoya on this Gwen, which I know that they took out a bit of her late game power, but should still be a pretty big menace with that 1,000 those 1,000 cuts from her passive. So hopefully we actually do get to see ThunderTalk be a little competitive. I know it's 6,000 gold down, but in the places that it kind of matters, I'm really looking for Hoya and 1xN to step up.
Let's see if they're able to do so. Hoya was able to pick up his second item, Asher's 2. He is going to teleport in. They're going to look for a flank play onto Karis here. They're trying to make a 5-man play, and he does get interrupted, and they are able to pick him off. Hold on, he's gone golden. Full time going to come through. Karis flashes over to the side, trying to make a play. Ends up going down, but they bought enough time for the rest of Team WE to show up, and ThunderTalk are on the wrong side of the tracks. Feather with a double knock-up coming through. Monki trying to sustain. He gets exhausted. SeTab off on the side, getting taken down by Taeyoon. Hoya burns away. 1xN dies. That is an ace for Team WE.
Triple kills, Otacons exploding with the Thornbound passive and the Soul. WE looking to bounce back here in this game number 1. They were on a 4 losing streak after winning 5 series in a row, and it looks like they're going to try and break that tonight here against ThunderTalk.
Does this mean a new winning streak is in order, off battery? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they win out the rest of the regular season. Maybe they win out once they get into play-ins. Who knows? They got to get the rest of the job done here first.
Yeah, we get to see how this fight. Yeah, this is great. I like how Karis just wastes so much time. The Sarah shield, the Zonias, and then even this flash, he's able to get down the Unraveled Earth and still delay time. And then you're from ThunderTalk, I think you're just waiting to just have your cooldowns. I don't see why SeTab needs to dash forward. You have such a long time, you have your ultimate here. Let's wait, let's get into a better position, allow for some of us to I know, I get it. You're 6,000 gold down. You just lost a member in front of you. I'm kind of coping for them. You gotta still be able to play these fights however you can. And WE now, they're gonna take Chemtech Soul, they're gonna grab themselves the Baron. And now we should see how cleanly they can close out this game.
Judging by the last couple of fights, I imagine it'll be quite clean out battery, but we'll have to see if anybody's going to throw a wrench into the plans. XiaoHuanGren throws a wrench into the plans, and he takes away the Baron.
All right, guys. You know what? I should have known. I should have just known. We have been bagging on ThunderTalk for too damn long in this series. We're only in game number 1. But, you know, at least XiaoHuanGren steals the Baron. I am gonna be honest, Yanni. I think that might actually push us to Elder. Unless ThunderTalk die within the next 45 seconds, I think we're going to Elder.
You might be right, and all of a sudden, it becomes a burger flip. XiaoHuanGren able to get that Baron? Who knows? Maybe he can get the Elder too. And you never know what can happen when the enemy team steals the Elder from a really, really bad position. They are going to be down 7,000 gold. Let's take a look at this replay. It's on a ward too.
He's on a ward. I mean, it's really hard. Okay, again, he should be able to get into this pit in the first place if WE are actually like paying attention. But Pantheon, Empowered Q plus Smite is kind of unbeatable. It's one of those things where, like, the Varus fully charged arrow outdamages the Smite. When Jinx Rocket was really popular at stealing Smites, one of those things where you're just like, I mean, should have just been someone else marking this guy. What do you want me to do?
Should have been better.
Yep.
Not too much else to say. We will be saying that SeTab is able to get away using his ultimate. Almost got stunned up there, but things continue to be hard for the life of ThunderTalk, as their jungle has not been theirs for a very long time, and it gets pillaged once more.
1xN, I have to ask, why are we going LDR? Who has tank stats on this team?
Pick up the seismic shoves. Karis uses that Weaver's wall, looking for a little bit extra damage. Hoya trying to hide, looking to do something here on the Karis, but he gets stunned up, he gets knocked up, and he gets taken down. Vampire blocks the bullet time too, with the equalizer down for good measure, just to make sure that 1xN can't stay away.
If you thought it was hard enough, by the way, to try to kill Karis and the rest of his team, remember, when they have Chemtech Dragon, you have 25% free damage resistance and damage increase when you are below 50% HP. That is already hard enough. And then you look, he has a Leandri, so he has more HP. He has a Zonias and a Saris. This guy is unkillable at this point from the Talia, unless he makes a huge error coming out from them. And as we saw, Baron steal for ThunderTalk keeps them in the game for another 2.5 minutes. It's going to fall off in a little bit now. And while they're able to pick up some of these super minion waves, we are just going to Elder. We're seeing from WE, they're waiting to see if they can try to make a pick somewhere, really open up the game.
Oh, SeTab is just going to engage on. He's forced to flash away as he got taken below half HP. Siege is still on here on the top side. SeTab is using his ultimate to get away from Monki, but Monki just sustains through everything. Doesn't take a lick of damage. Down goes the Alistar. Down goes the inhibitor. SeTab has to lick his wounds at the base of the fountain as this minion wave begins to push in. Hoya trying to do what he can to clear it out, to force Team WE away, to try to buy some extra time for ThunderTalk. Team WE will rotate down onto the bottom inhibitor turret, take that one out too, take out that inhibitor, pillage everything. Maybe just try to end the game here.
Maybe. They've got 3 grubs. They've got another mini wave in bottom lane. If they can't do it then, there's another mid wave coming.
Through this wall, Pantheon going to be targeted out. Can't survive through all that. The first Nexus turret will fall. ThunderTalk has given up. Team WE roll over ThunderTalk here in Game 1.
And they tried, you know, again, that early game from ThunderTalk gave us some hope, but in like their other series, especially against Weibo, ThunderTalk were unable to kind of sequentially find themselves multiple wins throughout this game. And I mean, WE have looked throughout the season like a more complete team. Even in week number 2, when we saw WE, that was the most impressive week that we got from them. Actually, it was week 3. Week 3, they go up against TES, BLG, and AL in a single week. They go to 3 games with all of them. And that was kind of the point where we're like, okay, they're looking competitive against top-level teams. All they need to do is actually take 2 of them in a series. They've been taking games off of them, but can they actually convert? And it started with WE. It started with TT in week 4. They got a 2-0 there, and then they streaked to find themselves 5 wins.
Maybe ThunderTalk will be the ignition that kickstarts them to get more series wins. And so far, I mean, listen, things looked really good for SeTab early, but his opposite number, Karis, just did so much more around the map on this Talia. Even when he had a rough play, right? When he took the Weaver's wall down and landed up in the middle of 4 people with the double teleport play on him, still, as you said, in that fight, lasted so long, allowed the teleport from the Rumble to come in and really have his team salvage that fight. And that was his worst fight. There were so many other fights where he looked really, really good. So a little bit of a feather in the cap to Karis here after Game 1.
Karis, you just saw it in their strategy, right? Like, as soon as Monki does 3 camps, walks into river, walks right through mid lane, doesn't find anything, just goes ahead and goes for an invade into bottom side jungle. Then wraps back around into mid lane, helps pushes out. Again, it did turn into a situation where Karis lost his flash, SeTab got the kill, got red buff. There were angles there going on, but there is so much focus from Team WE around mid lane that I feel like it's really hard to try to break this. You need to get into a situation where not only do you have information as to where Monki is, but you also are having a laner and a player who is going to naturally push Karis around and really force him to make errors.
Yeah, and we were expecting either of these mid-jungle duos to make a sizable impact in this game. And, for ThunderTalk, it started with them early, but then it just became the Monki show from there. I think this guy, while the damage isn't certainly going to be something that jumps at you, certainly in the contention for MVP this game, he was everywhere.
Oh yeah, Monki gets everything done for this team. Again, him and Vampire, kind of janitors. I think Vampire had a bit of a quieter game, but he is playing Braum, so all his duty basically this entire game is going to be like, I'm jumping to you, I'm pressing my E, sometimes I'm slamming Q in enemy face, and that's kind of all we get from him. So I really do feel like Monki deserves it. Not only did he set up his mid lane for success, but he's also just kind of being there around the objectives in a really smart way. And again, WE trying to push themselves now in game score. They're going to be 16-22, which does tie them up with Weibo. If they win this series, they will still be 8th, as again, Weibo are 6-9 right now. But you look at the schedule, and particularly I'm looking, when does Weibo play? Weibo plays on Saturday night against TES. If everything goes to plan there, TES will bump Weibo down into the 8th place spot. Again, we are assuming that WE are going to be winning this series, but I think that there's a very real possibility that if WE goes 500 in this last 3 series split for the rest of the season, they could actually end up being the 7th seed. And that means you're playing against ThunderTalk.
And who knows, maybe that Thursday match, next Thursday, will really show a lot, as Team WE will be playing against Weibo on that last day before NIP and ThunderTalk. So, who knows with the way the rest of the regular season goes. We could see a little bit of flip-flopping. I assume that ThunderTalk will likely stay where they are. I don't really foresee any other wins.
If they, okay, you know what's so funny? Depending on how the rest of this split kind of pans out, particularly for NIP, if they win, let's say like 2 or 3 more games, individual games, not necessarily series, they make it impossible for ThunderTalk to get out 10th. And then the last 2 series of the season, WE versus Weibo, potentially for 7th place, and NIP versus ThunderTalk, which almost assuredly guarantees that we get WE versus ThunderTalk again.
Oh no. Not oh no. This is
That's gonna be a
if you're
play-in
Team
series.
WE,
Again,
you
if you
want
don't know our format, bottom 6 of Group Ascend play a single best of 5 to get seeded into playoffs against the top 4 teams of Group Ascend. So we'll have an 8-team bracket. 4 teams are eliminated for the rest of Split 3. It's unfortunate, but I think it is a really competitive format to try to keep these teams on their toes, and I think it's a really fun one, all things considered.